Recorded. Hm. Kiki, je hebt je camera ook al aangezet?
Nee, dat heb ik niet. Zie je mij? Ik zie jou wel. Wil je wil je mij zien via je camera? Denk je dat het beter is?
Nee, nee.
Ik kan jou nu niet meer zien.
Ja. Ja, is dat zo? Nu toch niet. Via jouw microfoon dan. Dat is jouw microfoon dan, ja. Of toch niet? Okay, so if I just start talking now, can everybody hear me? Ah, fantastic. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Kiki, can you hear me?
I can hear you indeed.
Okay.
Good morning.
All
Good
right.
afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Chris Achten. I'm the international student recruiter for KDG University College here in Antwerp, and I'm joined today by Kiki Kamps, who's one of our admissions officers here on the campus Groenplaats in the heart of Antwerp. And it's lovely for us to have this opportunity to talk to you today. We were under the impression that we're going to have a conversation with you, or at least with some of you. We have a whole bunch of questions prepared here that we might want to ask you, how we can help you, what we can do for you to help us in recruiting students in this final spring push we have going at this moment. You may be aware that we have an approaching deadline for applications, which is in 2 days from now. So the 15th of May, our applications close for the next academic year for non-EU students. So we have 2 more days for students to apply, and then they'll have 5 more days to send us the required documents. And well, we're here to help you out with anything we can to help you find the right students for these 2 degree programs that we offer in English, being international business and multimedia and communications technology. So, well, we're taking questions, or if somebody's willing to talk to us, we're here for you. Mhm. Mega. Thank you very much. Let's start with the programs themselves. So we have two um, bachelor's degrees that are taught in English, international classrooms. So for these two degree programs, we aim for 50-50 composition, 50% international students and 50% local students. Since I have a request for video, here's me. Good morning. And oh, the sun is shining here in Antwerp. And there's Kiki. Good morning. Oh, good two degree programs in English. One of them international business, and the other one multimedia and communication technology. International business is a 3-year program, and so is multimedia communication technology. IBS, as we call it, international business, has been around, I think, for 5 years now, and it's really an exhaustive introduction to all the necessary skills to do business in the global marketplace. The second year, we really focus on the ins and outs of doing international business, really hands-on learning. In small class groups, I think we have 40 up to 50 people in a class group, so it's really an immersive experience with hands-on experience. Kiki? Okay. Um, Kiki can't hear me at this point, but I'm supposing you can still hear me. Yeah, people are nodding. Okay. And in the last year, students really focus on, well, real life experiences. So they choose elective subjects in the last year. They go on exchange programs abroad, and they're also required to do an internship in a company. International students can do this in a local company here in Belgium, and local students need to go abroad. In that way, we really strive to have this international business degree program to be as much a reflection of what it's really like to be doing business in an international marketplace. Multimedia communication technology is a new program that is being launched this September. So we're still recruiting students for that. And this is really a program that is aimed for or aimed at what we call digital nomads. So people who basically can run a business from their computer, people who know how to program websites, how to build applications, growth hackers, innovators, and it's really a degree program that combines creativity, technology, and entrepreneurship. So we're helping ours to become digital entrepreneurs. The first year, which is being launched now, will consist of 5 modules, 5 master classes, 5 sprints, each of them taught by an international expert that we're flying in. They're all project-based and really hands-on practical skills, like programming, like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, real-life learning for digital skills. In the second year, we'll focus on user experience, creativity, and design. And in the last year, our students can either do an internship in a startup company, or they can start up their own company in which they will be coached by our coaches within the degree program. You may be aware that Antwerp is one of the largest startup hubs in Europe. We have several initiatives hosted by the city of Antwerp that really help startup tech companies to launch quickly, to find the funds quickly so they can become scale-ups quite easily. And Antwerp is ideally located for that. We're an international port. It's one of the most multinational countries in the world. We have more than 170 nationalities living here in Antwerp. A total population of 500,000 people, quite a wealthy city where entrepreneurship and global thinking are really very well ingrained. We've been on the crossroads of Europe for many years, and it's really an excellent place to launch a business. So that's why we're pushing these two programs also in English, because we feel that Antwerp really can make a difference in the international marketplace. So that's a brief outline of these 2 degree programs. For IBS, International Business, we're doing quite well with students for the next academic year. For Multimedia and Communication Technology, we need more students for us to run this program next year. We need a few more international students. So it was our hope that you could help us find them. And I'd like to invite Kiki to share a little bit with you about the admissions process and how we can help students find their way to KDG. Kiki.
Thank you, Chris.
Hmm.
Indeed, we would need a bit more students to open up the MCT program. So it would be great if you guys could find some extra students before the 15th. The deadline of the 15th is basically the application form. So the admission process consists of a few parts, and the most important one is the application form. To start with, there's quite a straightforward application form via Google form, basically, and with an end part with a motivational statement, which is important but not too important, to be honest. So a few lines will do the trick, to be honest. It is important then to send out an email with the extra documents we need as well: passport, the diploma files, of course, the A levels, the language files, and to give you a bit more information about the language part, because many questions come in from that and many doubt as well. We accept a TOEFL test, IELTS test, with a few scores which could be found on our website and our brochure, but B2 in general is accepted. Important to let you know is that we give you the offer to participate in a free language test as well on KDG online, but then students would need to have like a minimum of 4 years of English at high school or 2 years at university level. So 3 years is not accepted, we definitely 4 years. And the proof we accept for that are just the great transcripts. There are many students who sent us as well as like a statement of a professor that their English is enough or something, but that's not sufficient. We definitely need like proof of the transcripts. I'm just checking whether there are any questions in between. There are no any relevant background requirements for the media program. I see this question by Miss James. So basically, everyone can participate as long as the A levels or like the diploma is sufficient, and the A levels should be at least 3 courses with a minimum score of 2 Bs. And of course, our diploma officers will check it in detail later on. So I can't really say whether we really accept it or not, but that's something we need to go in depth for the diploma officers. But this is basically like the procedures. So the application form, the passport, the language files, diploma files, and then at the end you can get accepted, and we'll send out a letter of acceptance to end with. So that's basically, I guess, the application procedure. Quite straightforward, not too difficult. Any other questions?
Thanks, Kiki, for
I see that
there's
there are a
some
few
people
people
typing.
typing. Is there any test or Skype conducted? Yes. Well, as I said, indeed, normally we'd only accept a TOEFL or an IELTS, but we give the extra service to do a Skype for the semi-natives. And Indian students are often semi-native because they have done English for many years, and that's why we offer the opportunity to give like a free Skype test, but only when they've done like for 4 years in high school in English or 2 years at university level. So we need to get the proof of that for sure, like I said early on. So great transcripts are the only accepted proof right now. So yes, there are Skype tests conducted if they can't, don't want to do the TOEFL or the IELTS, which are quite expensive often. So. Accommodation indeed. I see that Chris is already answering via chat as well. At the moment, we don't have any accommodation services. However, we have a new serving and housing officer right now this year. So we're setting it up. But so if you have questions, of course, feel free to send them to us. We'll do our best to assist you guys. But we don't have any on-campus housing, unfortunately. Maybe Chris can say a bit more about housing, I guess.
So Antwerp really is a student city. We have a student population of over 44,000 students here in Antwerp. So there is plenty of places for students to stay. Well, not all these students are international students, I should say. Some of them still live with their parents. So not all of them are living in the city, but it's a very active student community. And there is a whole network of places to stay for students. You can find a room for as low as 350 euros a month. And a studio would go up to 400, maybe 450 euros a month. But there's a lot on offer for all budgets, really. And as Kiki said, we have a housing officer to help you with any specific queries and to help really assist students, incoming students, to find a place to stay. What was I going to say about Antwerp? Yeah, it's a very we feel Belgium is a very small country, especially compared to India, which is a continent in its own. And for us, Antwerp feels like a big city, but on a global scale, it really is a small city. 500,000 people may sound like a lot, but we often call Antwerp a pocket-sized metropolis. It feels like a big city. It feels a bit like Amsterdam, like New York. Two cities actually that have been founded by people from Antwerp, incidentally. However, Antwerp is much smaller, and you can really get from one end of the city to the other end in 20 minutes, 25 minutes on a bike, and even on foot, it takes you less than 1 hour to really cross the whole city. So it's a small place, and there's plenty of housing available for all budgets. Okay, international business indeed also is a 3-year program, just as multimedia communication technology is indeed. And there is the option for students to combine years, so it's also possible to spread the program over more than 3 years, but ideally you can finish it in 3 years.
There's something else that's maybe good to mention. As soon as your students are accepted by us, it's good to pay as soon as possible tuition fees, not for us, but for the students themselves, because then they will get, the sooner they pay, the sooner they'll get a letter of acceptance, and the sooner they can start their visa. And the Indian visa to come to Belgium is quite complex. It could be complex, so it's always better to start as soon as possible. And of course, we're here to help as well. Silke, our visa officer, will do her best as well to help you. So even then, there is somebody who could support. I see another question. Let's see. How long will it take to get the offer from the date of application submission? Oh, that's a good question indeed. That differs because normally we try to, I'm doing all the emails which are coming in. So basically I will try to answer all questions within 48 hours. So once the student submits the application form, and it depends on whether the application file basically is complete. So it's important that the student send in all the documents required. Otherwise, I'll have to send another email like it's not complete, and then it will take a while to go back and forth forth, getting all the required documents. But just let's say that the application is complete and he or she submits the form and the requested documents, then I'll send everything to our diploma checker basically, and then it can take up to 2 weeks maximum, I would say, and I can speed it up a bit for the Indian students, for sure. So I will do my best in that sense. So say it will take 2 weeks maximum, and then it depends on whether they have sent in a TOEFL on IELTS. Then it goes quick because then I can accept them straight away. But if they need to do a Skype test, then it will take another week or so because I need to schedule them. And the only tests available right now are, let's say I just wrote them down on 17th of May. So will that not be possible? So I guess the latest one will be 1906. But if possible, I will try to figure out an extra language test. I will do my best because we have to organize that with 3 professors. So, but of course, we'll go the extra mile for you all. Yeah. So then it can take a while, but say they submit everything and they pass the test or they send in the TOEFL, I can send them straight away the letter of acceptance and the payment instructions, of course. But that's up to them how fast they pay. So say maximum 4 weeks time, I would say, and the quickest 2 weeks or 1.5 week if possible. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
I saw a question about the bachelor study program. So, well, we have 2 bachelor degree programs that we offer, and both of them have an internship included in the program. So the idea is that students studying international business, they need to do an internship within an international company. International, meaning that local students from Belgium, they have to go abroad. So they have to go to another country, either within Europe or outside of Europe, to do this internship. Students who are coming in from another country, like Indian students, they can choose. Either they do the internship with a local company here in Belgium, a company that does international business, but they can work here, do the internship in the offices in Belgium, or they can go abroad as well. So they can also go for an internship in another country, either within Europe or outside of Europe. You may also be familiar with Erasmus, the exchange programs. So we're also part of the Erasmus network. And for our students, all of our students, so also international students, there's the opportunity to do a semester or several months in another European university. So students coming to study international business or multimedia communication technology here in Antwerp, they actually get at least 2 international experiences. So one here in Antwerp, where we have an international classroom. So 50% of your classroom will be people from all over the world, but you also get to do an internship in an international company, either here in Belgium or abroad. The students in the multimedia and communication technology, they can choose to do an internship within a tech company, or they can decide to set up their own company, because we're really training them to be entrepreneurs as well. And if they decide to launch their own startup, we'll spend the last 6 months of the degree program coaching them, setting up their own business. Kiki, can you say something about the proof of solvency?
Absolutely. That's quite important for Indian students, I would say, and even non-EU students in general, to speed up the process for visa. So as soon as they've paid and get their letter of acceptance, they can go to the embassy to apply for a visa. And to speed it up, they often need to show that they have sufficient funding. So they can work with a sponsor to show that the sponsor has sufficient funding to pay for the students or the students themselves, of course, if they have plenty of money. But 9,000 euros is not enough to basically have in your account. So it needs to be a good job and not even a sales job, because then there's not enough proof that they have like sufficient funding per month. but only like once 9,000 euros, which is not enough. So that's why we offer the proof of solvency procedure. So how does it work? They basically pay 9,200 euros, which is quite some money, on a bank account on KDG, and they get the proof from our side that they've paid it and that they can use this as proof of sufficient funding for the visa for the embassy. Which helps absolutely to speed up the process. And once they're here, they get month per month, like a certain amount of money on their bank account once they're here. And I guess the first month, 2 months, it will be double because they need to pay insurance and everything. Of course, when you here, you have a bit more extra cost than the rest of the months, basically. So yes, we absolutely recommend students to make use of the proof of solvency to speed it up, for sure. Any questions concerning this? I guess I will forward in the future as well to Silk, our new housing and visa officers. But for now, we're still picking this up, Sophie and I. If there are any questions concerning this, just let us know. And other questions I've seen is if the student is having 2 or 3 year gap after his secondary education, is this acceptable? Basically, yes, I guess from our side. I mean, as long as they have a higher education diploma, that's absolutely fine. I even had today a person who was 45 applying, who had a longer gap year than 2 or 3 years. So absolutely, I mean, we absolutely welcome everyone to our program, even if this is a 30-year gap, I would say. Yes, as long as they have a certain diploma, we'll accept it in our program. I can't go in details on what diplomas exactly are accepted because our diploma officers will do this for us. But normally, a secondary education should be fine if it gives access to higher education, bachelor.
I see 2 more people typing questions. So while they're typing, I'll say a bit more about KDG. Maybe you've seen our baseline in English. How will you make a difference? And here at KDG, we really feel that we're making a difference. That we are a different university college than many others in Belgium and maybe even outside of Belgium. You could say that in many ways KDG is like a boutique hotel, a boutique university where we're small, relatively small, but yet we have 13,000 students, but also we have a lot of staff. We have a ratio of 1 staff member for 10 students. So this means that, for instance, I'm a lecturer as well, and I know all my students personally. And we're really student-centered people. Students here, they really can approach their lecturers and the staff for pretty much any questions they might have. And we really feel that the students are at the center of what we're about. We're just here to help them have a great learning experience. And you'll find that the staff really is willing to go the extra mile, not just the lecturers, but basically everyone within KDG, because we really feel that we want to make a difference. And we do this by focusing on what we're really good at. We don't want to be the biggest one, but we really want to be the one that makes the most change in the students' lives. So that's also why you see that the tuition fees are relatively low, only 6,000 euros, which is a lot cheaper than a lot of our competition. Yet actually we feel that you get a lot more because we're smaller than the competition. We can really focus on what the students need, and especially our international students. They're really well, our student population, a part of our student population that we really cherish and that we really want to feel give as warm a welcome as possible. So they'll be treated with extra due diligence, just like our agents in India. I see 2 more questions. Is there an application fee? That's the one for Kiki. Yes, the question about support for students. So we have a student entrepreneurship center here. So if a student wants to set up a startup company, wants to set up his or her own company, we will definitely help with that. We have coaches to help students with that, and they're familiar with local legislation. However, we can guarantee that a student can get a stay back visa. That is something that is with outside of the scope of our services. We can't make any promises in that, where we will help students either set up their own company or help them find a place in a company they want to work with. And we do have a career office here on campus, so we really have people helping students find career opportunities for them, either within Belgium or in the global marketplace. Internships, indeed, IBS students and multimedia communication technologies. Internships are actually part of the program, so they have to do an internship before they graduate. They need to get real life experience and not just experiences in the classrooms. Kiki, did you want to talk
Yeah,
about the application fee?
there is none. There's no application fee. We will maybe have an application fee as of next year, but for this year there is no application fee yet. So I'm not sure how it will look like next year, but that's something we'll have to pick up from there, I guess. But for now, there's no fee included. Um, any pickup services from the students from the airport? We were just talking about that. I think you can pick over, right? The question. Yeah.
Well, on the way to this meeting room, Kiki and I were saying that it would be a really nice extra service for students to be picked up at the airport. I remember the first time I landed in Delhi, somewhere around midnight, and on top of the culture shock, there was also the airport shock and Delhi by midnight shock.
We had both
So
this experience, I
I
guess.
have first-hand experience of how nice it would have been to have been picked up from the
Absolutely.
airport. Um, and we were talking about how we should make this something structural, that we should set up a service that every student that comes in from abroad should be picked up either by us or by our student ambassadors or by some city representative. But yeah, I'm willing to go the extra mile right now and offer you that any students that are sent to us through the people that we're talking to today, I will personally go and pick them up from the airport because I feel how nice it is to have a familiar face waiting for you at the airport. So if you can get us students by September this year, I will personally come and pick them up from the airport in Brussels.
Wow, Chris.
Yeah. Any scholarships for international students? Not at the moment. That's another thing we want to start working on.
Absolutely.
So I only started in this position 2 months ago. Up until last year, IBS was the only international program we had, and then it was just our lecturers doing the recruiting while they were on trips abroad. And only since 2 months have we centralized recruitment strategy, admission strategy. So this is really on the agenda for the next year. And what I want to do is to set up collaborations with corporate companies here in Belgium. And for them, that would be an excellent way to actually recruit interns and to recruit staff. So we want to set up a network of scholarships for students in collaboration with local companies so they can handpick the best talent for their company. And I'm hoping that when we have this conversation next year that I can affirm to you that we have these scholarships. Right now, not yet. Not yet. Sorry. Any other questions at this point? Do you feel that you know enough about Belgium? Do you already sent students to us? Maybe you could share some of their concerns, questions they had, questions you might have about what it's like to study and live in Belgium, in Antwerp. Any other questions? And since we're waiting for people to type their questions, I would also warmly invite you to convince students who are still not sure if they really are able to start these programs now to already apply. So they have 2 more days to apply, and then they'll have 5 more days to upload the documents. So we warmly invite them to apply. It only takes 15 minutes. It's just an online form that they fill out. There's no strings attached, but they will be in our system, and we can help them go through the application process much more easily once we
Absolutely.
have a point of contact with them. So even if they're still in doubt, if they have more questions, just have them fill out the application form, and then we'll be in touch with you, the local agent, or if you want us, we can have a chat with the students ourselves to help them make the right decision. We want them to make a decision that's good for them. But if they're not in the funnel, so they should register within 2 days. Well, it'll they'll be in next year's funnel. But if they want to be part of this year's funnel, they need to
Mm,
register or apply within 2 days.
absolutely. Even if they doubt on the diploma files or everything, just send them along. We'll have a small investigation on their file. So just send it as soon as they have any just a doubt to apply. It's better to just apply via the form and then send in later the documents. I think they've just got 5 extra days, so should be enough to scan everything and to send everything along, I guess. Ooh, when's the class commence? Date for September intake. Not sure whether I have the exact details. We should have the exact details. I'm just going to look that up.
Classes begin, if I'm not mistaken, in the week of the 22nd of September. So the last week or the third week of September. That's usually when classes start. We work with 2 semesters in the year. So and each semester is divided in 2 periods. So we work with a 6 week block, and then you have 2 weeks time off and some exams, and then 6 more weeks, then a longer period. So that's over Christmas. There's the exams that wrap up the first semester, and then in the second half of the year we repeat this. So 6 weeks of class, then a short period of exams, and then 6 weeks of class and exams. If you have an internship, it's either for these 6 weeks or longer than that.
The orientation days of international business will be at the 12 and 13, but indeed on 16 and 17 we'll start classes, I guess.
Okay,
Yes.
16 and 17 of September. Orientation day is the 12th. So international students, well, it would be really good if they could join us for the orientation days. So I can pick them up from the airport, and they can already get to know each other in my car on the way home. But also the orientation days, they're really an excellent way for students to well, to really to get familiar with what it's like to live and study in Antwerp, and what KDG is all about. Because once classes have started, things really get moving quickly. So if you can have students join us before the 12th of September or on the 12th, that
That's
would be great.
great. Yeah.
Kiki, a question about the visa process.
Unfortunately, I don't know anything about the visa process in detail because that's part of the student's responsibility as the last couple of years. However, we have now a visa officer who is trying to help out students this year already. We're increasing our support. It was already good, but we just want to go the extra mile, and especially for the Indian students. So if there are any specific questions, students can put this in an email to us, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. But as far as I know, unfortunately, we don't have specific information on the embassy. Um, so it's not a question I can answer straight away like that. Um, but as far as I know, the proof of solvency is quite important. But we had a long time ago, we had a few students who didn't go through the visa process because of the funding. And with the proof of solvency, it helped getting their visa and to speed it up, especially once the files are here in Belgium. So that helps absolutely. So I would recommend students to go for the proof of solvency procedure instead of the sponsorship procedure. But I don't have specific details on the visa procedure, unfortunately. Mm, the question on the how long is the stay back option for international students? I'm afraid I'm not really know what the stay back option is. We can we can check that in the meantime, indeed. Yeah.
Kiki's going to check that for you. Well, she'll be back with an answer shortly. You have any other questions about the programs, about what KDG is about, what we can do for you? Um, so that's also a question I want to ask you today, actually. What would help you recruit the right students for us? What can we do for you? What materials do you need? What extra information do you need? Um, how often should we have these conversations? How can we help you find the right students for us? And I'm really looking forward to hearing your input on this because, like I said, this is a new territory for KDG, and we're really willing to learn from you who have much more experience in the field. Um, so yeah, any anything that would help, would love to hear from you. Okay, the average monthly living cost. Like I said, a room would be around 400, 350 up to 400 euros. A meal, a student meal, well, you can have a proper meal for under 10 euros. So I think, Kiki, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you'll manage with under 1,000 euros a month for all your expenses for living, eating,
Absolutely.
probably even less than that.
Because if they use the proof of solvency procedure, they get, I guess, 750 a month from the bank back again. So that should be doable. Absolutely. Housing is not so expensive here. Of course, you can make it, you can have a fancy room, of course, which is more expensive, but just normal rooms are 350 or 400. Chris, I think you're more
Yeah,
experienced in
yeah,
this,
yeah, that's
around
what I
that.
said. Yeah, 350.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great question. Thank you.
I just got an answer back from on the question, how long is the stay back option for international students? Currently, Belgium has no stay back option, but we've requested for this to be changed. However, this is a political decision, so we have little control over it, I'm afraid. That's what my colleague just wrote me. Um, so indeed, I wish it was possible, and we get the question quite often from other non-EU students indeed. But we just have no control over it. I wish we had. But a career office would help, of course. So we do have a career office since I think a year even. So our support team is growing and growing. So it will only get better. Um, so yeah, I hope we can help them.
Okay, a question about our location. We are in Antwerp, indeed. Antwerp, the largest city in Flanders. Flanders is the northern part of Belgium, the part where we speak Dutch as our first language, but you'll find that almost everyone speaks English quite well, especially here in Antwerp. It's a very cosmopolitan city. I mentioned earlier that Amsterdam was founded by people from Antwerp, and New York was founded by people from Amsterdam. You speak called New Amsterdam, and you'll find that Antwerp is in atmosphere, in global outlook, very much like those much larger cities. Um, so we have 500,000 inhabitants. We have the second most nationalities in the world. So it's a very multicultural city, very manageable. It's small. You can bike or walk pretty much everywhere within 20, 25 minutes. We're a student city, more than 44,000 full-time students. And Antwerp really is known as a city of enterprise, of innovation, of global business. Even in the 16th century, we had uh, European diplomats that would choose Antwerp as their home base, but still nowadays, Belgium is where the headquarters of NATO is. The European Union is based in Belgium, and Antwerp is just a 30-minute train ride away from our capital, Brussels. It's I think an hour and a half to Amsterdam, 2 hours to Paris, and 2 hours to London. So we're really within striking distance of all these much more expensive cities in Europe. Um, Antwerp also really is a prototyping city in that sense that people in Antwerp are willing to take risks and are willing to invest in products or in services that they believe in. And that's why many companies actually choose Antwerp to test new products. So, for instance, the BMW i8, when the new model was being tested, they did so in Antwerp because people in Antwerp do have the money to test these vehicles, and they really are quite not sparing with their criticism, constructive criticism, I have to say. Also, you may have heard of a festival called Tomorrowland. I think it was, well, for the maybe fifth time awarded the best festival in the world. It's a festival that was launched here in Antwerp, and still every year it's hosted here in Antwerp. Um, you might also be interested to know that Antwerp is the world's diamond capital. We have a huge population here from India, people working in the diamond industry, and roughly 80% of all the diamonds being traded in the world, or even existing in the world, have been traded here in Antwerp. So we really have a tradition of doing global business, and there is a strong Indian population here in Antwerp as well, and some excellent Indian restaurants, I should say, too. Yeah. There's one just around the corner from the campus. I see Kiki smiling. So we think of you, people in India, very often. Like, and we'd love to invite more Indian students to our university. Um, what else should I say about Antwerp? That's pretty much what I had noted down. On our website, you'll find some really nice video material on the city of Antwerp. You'll see what the architecture is like, how people get around. People really live uh, in the city, so people don't tend to stay indoors and live behind locked doors. People really like to go out, have drinks together, have a nice meal together, and students do so too. So we really have an active student community that is really out and about all day. So for international students, it won't be that difficult to actually join their fellow students. We also have a student club, the KDG Ambassadors, which is a group of international students that are hosting events for our new international students, and it's quite a closely knit community, the internationals here in Antwerp. Um, any other questions about Antwerp, Belgium, registration, admission? Again, I might have a question for you. How realistic is it, do you think, that we have this 1 week window now for recruiting students for this new degree program? So we're really looking for more students for multimedia communications technology. How realistic is it for you to maybe have a few students apply for this? A question about the language requirement. I think Kiki will answer that in
Yep.
a second. Or well,
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, as I told early on, our admission procedure consists of a few parts indeed: the form, the language requirement, the passport, and the diploma check. So the language requirement is quite an important part of the application. So we expect students to have a certain level of English, a B2, or via TOEFL or via IELTS. Those are the only accepted tests we basically accept. However, Indian students are often semi-natives, which means that they have done their whole life in the English language, have studied in English during their high school and even maybe the higher education. So once they have done 4 years in high school in the English language, we offer the opportunity, a free opportunity, to do a Skype test in um, yeah, in the procedure as well. So as soon as they've got the 4 years in high school or 2 years in university, just send along as well the I'm sorry, I'm just getting my um, and so as long as they sent it basically like a proof of 2 years in English of university via a transcript, then we can accept them in a Skype interview. So that's basically, I guess, the complete language requirement. It's quite straightforward. It's
Okay.
indeed maybe indeed important to say that once we're still waiting, if students are still waiting for a diploma and they're still graduating this year, they can still be accepted and a conditionally acceptance, but we would need their diploma, of course, at the end once they start studying here. So we'll do a quick check once they're studying here. So even students who are graduating this year, we can conditionally accept. And that's quite important to let you know, I guess. Because I understood from Chris that India students are graduating only right now, so they can apply even without a diploma. But of course, they need to obtain a diploma before the start of the semester. Otherwise, we are not able to officially accept them.
Thanks, Kiki. And also thank you very much for well, the positive news that you have. You seem to have quite a few students who are keen for the
Hmm,
program.
I'm seeing
Um,
indeed.
yeah, so yeah, we're looking forward to welcoming them. Um, like I said, we're really willing to go the extra mile. So if you could just give us a heads up either through your network, agency network, or and then the other way, that these students have applied through you, will make sure that their process runs smoothly. So we'll give them extra attention and make sure that they get all the information they need from us, or we give it to you and you can pass it on to the students, whichever works for you. Um, because I said, like I said earlier, multimedia communication technology is a new program. We really believe quite strongly in it, but the decision to launch it was made quite late in the year. So now we're really in a sprint to recruit enough students to have a proper international classroom. So you would be of a great help, and we would be most grateful if you could help us find good students. Good students in the sense that we really want students that will finish this degree program, because it would be a shame if we started now with, let's say, 10 international students, but if half of them drop out in the third year, there'll only be 5 international students, and that would be a shame. So we're really aiming for quality. We'd much rather have students who are really dedicated to the program and really feel that they made the right choice. And we'll do whatever we can to make sure that students really feel that they've made the right choice and that they have everything they need from us. Um, okay, we're fully on with the campaigns. Excellent, fantastic. Um, Anything else we can do for you at this point? You'll find a lot of marketing materials on our websites. On our English website, there's a dedicated page to both of these degree programs. You'll find general information about KDG, some video materials about Antwerp, about studying in Antwerp. We've also sent the brochures for you to print if you want to, or you can send them out digitally to your contacts. Um, is there anything else we can do for you at this point? No. Kiki, you still have questions or things you wanted to add?
Not really. No, I think it's quite clear. If you don't have any questions,
Someone's typing. So
yeah, so
we'll just keep an eye out for all applications coming in from India, and we'll just assume that they've come through this conversation. So any student applying from India, since you're our only agent network that we have in place in India right now, students applying from India, we'll assume that they come through you, and we'll give them extra attention and make sure that their application is processed smoothly, I should
Will
say.
students apply via the agent, one contact person, or
Mm.
will it be like separate per student? I'm not sure how, because that was how it worked in the past, I guess,
Okay. Okay.
via the agency.
Okay. Well, we have no more questions, I think, at the moment. I hope this was helpful for you. Um, let's try and do this more often. How often should we do this? And I'm asking the whole group now. How often should we have this conversation? Or when would be a good time in the year to have this conversation? Maybe that's an even better question. Keeping in mind when students graduate, when students start to make up their mind where they might want to study, when would be a good time for us to have this conversation? Yep. So once a month or once every 2 months should definitely be an option, because you may have noticed that the programs are still under development, and next year we're launching the second year of MCT. So I think it would be a really good idea for us to have this conversation, yeah, every month, every 2 months, so we can keep you up to date about what's happening at KDG because we're growing quite quickly, and of course we want our agents to be fully aware of what's going on and what we're um, what we're trying to do here. So yeah, I think we could do that every month, every 2 months. Yeah,
And we could even invite our student um, services officer for the housing and the visa. So
absolutely. Yeah, maybe next time we could have an international student join us who can kind of share his or her experiences,
yes,
our housing officer, visa officer, or maybe a lecturer. Um, so we're taking requests. So if you could just let us know what would be helpful for you, we'll make sure that we'll go the extra mile for you. Yep. Okay. Then I think we can say goodbye for now. Kiki, anything
yes.
else you wanted to add? Okay. If you want to ask us another question, you have 5 more seconds to do so. And if not, we're going to say goodbye for
I will
now.
just write. I will type my email address as well for questions on the
Uh,
admission. So that's maybe.
no, no, let's no. With Abdul, we agreed that all communication would go
I will.
through the network. So
That's maybe better for the
yeah,
funnel as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yes.
That will keep the funnel clear for everybody. So let's stick to this procedure for now, and
Perfect.
we'll just see how it goes. Thank you so much for helping us with our sprint, our spring sprint. Um, And yeah, I'm looking forward to working together with all of you much more intensively over the next months and years. So thank you very much for your attention. Have a lovely afternoon, um, and we'll talk soon. All right, and looking forward to welcoming all of your students here in Antwerp, Belgium. Kiki, yeah. All right,
Bye.
bye for now. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.